Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Sabirsri, and today is Friday. So we are talking about sort of conflict in pagan groups and covens. So the question asker talks about the fact that they were kind of ostracized from their coven because they were dealing with a lot of mothers who felt like their schedule was more important or should take priority over our question asker's schedule. And so the question was talking about conflict in those groups and kind of how do you deal with that and what to do and if we've noticed that. So basically, I haven't been in any outside covens. I'm hereditary, so it's my family. But I do know a lot of people in covens, and I have worked and participated in and been around the pagan community for so long, just the extended pagan community, that I've really seen a lot of this happen. And the reality is covens tend to end up being a lot like cliques. If you remember high school or if you're in high school and you've seen these cliques, covens end up being very cliquey. And oftentimes there are the cool kids. And if you're not part of the cool group, or if somebody gets mad at you or some drama happens, then you can kind of get ostracized from the group. And that sucks because this is your religion. This is not some clique in a high school. And it's really unfortunate that that has to be the way it is. It just ends up that way. So one of the things that I really suggest people do is make sure that you communicate really clearly and let them know your feelings. So a lot of moms will kind of get into that zone, that mom zone, right? Where they really forget that others around them are still participating in their lives and have things that they need to do and important things in their life. Just because a child has become the new focus of a mother's life, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden makes her priorities more important than everybody else around her. And that's really something to remember. And it's not that her priorities aren't important too. It's just that everybody should be given the validation that their things are important and their life is important, right? We want to make sure that everyone feels validated, especially if you are a coven member with them. So one of the things that I would suggest is, first, remember that they're probably not doing this to be mean. They probably are not doing this out of some malintent. It's probably unconscious. They probably don't realize what is happening. Now, not saying that they don't. There's always a possibility that somebody could be doing this totally purposefully. So I'm going to push that aside though, because if they're doing it purposefully, then they're not good people. And why would you want to be in a coven with those people? So let's talk about the unconscious, the unintentionally doing this. So basically, I would sit down with them and have the conversation and say, look, I know you probably don't mean this. You totally don't. It's just sometimes I feel like you think that, scheduling your family's things because you're a parent trumps my stuff that is just as important to me as your family stuff is to you. And I really want to come to sort of a mutual understanding where we can both respect each other's priorities and, make it work in our group. So you can go and have that kind of conversation. It sounds like, based on the long sort of question, that that's really not a possibility in this case, but moving forward, having that conversation and just being real about it. So not being accusatory, but just say, hey, I'm not sure if you know this, but this is how I've been feeling. And it's a really good skill to have anyway, regardless of whether or not it's a coven or not. Just to have that ability to tell somebody, hey, I don't know if you knew this, but this is really hurting me. And to say it in that way that keeps the focus on you and your feelings and not a blame game. That you're saying, look, you're probably unintentionally doing it. You probably don't mean to, but it is hurting me. And can we solve it? Can we fix it? So that's really important too, is always have a way to fix it. Always have a way in your mind, because going into these conversations, if you don't have the solution, right, in your mind, then you can end up on that sort of roundabout, like just going around in circles with the blame game because you're hurt, right? So this is a good lesson in communication in general, always know what your goal is in one of these conversations. If you're going into a conversation that could be difficult, have a goal in mind. What do you want to see? Because, for example, if somebody does something wrong and you go in and you just want to yell at them for doing something wrong, where are you going to get with that? No, you need to have a goal. Do you want an apology? Do you want them to, acknowledge and validate, what happened to you? Have a goal in mind. Because once that goal is reached, the conversation should stop, right? And oftentimes conversations don't stop. People just keep on arguing because they're hurt. And so they just keep bringing it up, regardless of the fact that somebody might have apologized. So make sure you have a goal. And I would just say, really look for some place that you feel like fits you and is meaningful to you. This is your religion. You do not want to be surrounded by negativity. So if it's not a helpful environment, if it's not a healthy environment, then it's probably not the best thing for you to be there anyway. So generally speaking, anytime that I've run into conflict in the pagan community, it's usually solved simply by removing myself from that situation. If it's something that isn't healthy or that I don't enjoy, then I'm just not going to be a part of that. And I'm also going to speak up. If I see something being done, that's happened to me before at some pagan events where I see somebody treating somebody else really badly, I go right up to them and I say, look, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with you treating this person this way. I really think you should apologize, or I think you should make amends in this way, and kind of call them out on that nicely and appropriately, and with the due amount of respect that is due to any other human being, right? But at the same time, making them own and take responsibility for the fact that they are treating somebody else negatively. So, yeah, so that would be it, guys. Sorry, the sun is like totally coming in. So yeah, it is a beautiful Maui day, and I hope that you are all having a fantastic week. And I don't know if next week is subs week or not, but if it is, you'll see the subs. If it isn't, you'll see me. And as always, have a wonderful day, and blessed be, and aloha.